Peace, girlfriends. It is that time. It's that time for another interview. Woohoo! So you all get ready. As you come in, please let me know where you are viewing Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. Where are you viewing me from? I'm so excited for this evening's interview. You all get ready, get set. It's going to be amazing. Oh, I got an amazing interviewee this evening, and you are going to want to hear it, see it, share it. Be a part of it. I'm just telling you. That's all. Hey, Nicole. Welcome. Hey, Susan. There we are. Our guest is here. And I am going to do my sharing. Let's see. There we go. Onto a page. All right. You all get those fingers. Interview. It's going to be great, you all. And so encouraging. This woman of wisdom and insights. There she is. Beautiful Susan out of Texas. Susan, I've already shared it onto Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, so you can do so as well. But you all, this is going to be a great interview. I'm so excited. So excited. I love it when I just say it's providence allows people to connect. I don't even know. Oh, I remember. I was going to say, I don't even know how we connected, but our interviewee today, she just made a comment on a post on YouTube, and then the rest was history. It was just like I stalked her. she sent me a message, and then I saw her on Instagram. I said, here's the same lady. She's here on Instagram. And then the rest is history. Here we are tonight for this amazing interview. I am so thrilled and excited to get rolling. So Susan, just let me know when you have done so, and we'll get started.
Yes, I got to share it. I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I am turned up for today's interview. Oh, so exciting. You all, if you are viewing these two melanated queens in your Facebook page, yes, that's what I said. We are queens. If you are viewing us in your Facebook page, just by chance, let me let you know what is going on. So this is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. I am Angela Jordan Perry, the host of this platform. This platform is to give voice to the African homeschooling diaspora and the marginalized homeschoolers. And so I do that by allowing them to share their stories, their journeys of homeschooling, their successes, their challenges, their triumphs, I'm going to put my hair out moments here on interviews, okay? But my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And I do that in part right here on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, on my podcast, Girlfriends Chat, on Educating Our Own, which is coming. We're biting at the bit for our website to get done. And then as well in the state of South Carolina, where I serve the homeschooling community, giving them legal rights to homeschool in this state. So that is just a little bit of what I do. So I'm a homeschooling mom myself of 8 children. 3 children have graduated, 18 years of homeschooling, married to my husband. It'll be 26 years next Wednesday after next. My mom called and reminded me today. I forget stuff like that, y'all. It's bad. But call me today. But July 11th, 26 years we'll be celebrating. And we make our homestead here in the northern west part of the state of South Carolina. You go just 5 minutes and you're in North Carolina. And so that's a little bit about me, but I'm so delighted to have this time with you. I ask all of you to hit the share button, because in just a bit, I'm going to tell you about tonight's interviewee, and you are going to want to share. You just never know who is homeschooling and needs some encouragement, or who is considering homeschooling and just needs some, just get some new nuggets and insights about this idea of homeschooling our Black and brown children. So here we go. Susan, are you ready to make it happen?
I sure am. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be fun. We're going to just be some girlfriends hanging out. So let me tell you a little bit about Susan. Susan Seay. I hope I'm saying your name right. I don't think I've asked you.
Seay.
Seay, okay. So Susan Seay has a highly engaged podcast, Mentor for Moms. She's also the author of The International Parent, Parenting on Purpose When Life Gets Busy. As a wife and mom of 7, she understands the challenges of trying to raise kids in a noisy and distracted world. Her mission is to help families create a culture in their homes that are both on purpose and full of purpose. It's what Susan refers to as intentional parenting. Excuse me, that was the word earlier, intentional parenting. Her commitment to being a mentor for moms on intentional parenting has given her the opportunity to share with women in local churches, international conferences, podcast interviews, radio interviews, and online training, reaching women all over the globe. So every time Susan speaks, her goal is to provide encouragement to moms combined with helpful practical tools. And you can find out more about Susan's work and stay connected with her by visiting Susan Seay.
See.
Yes. Forgot that quick. And that's spelled Seay. And all that information will be in the show notes. So you can just go right back there and click right to her information. So Susan, I have just shared a little bit about you with the girlfriends. Please tell us more about yourself and how you actually got started in your homeschooling journey.
Oh, goodness. Well, I think it's neat that you and I have so many things in common because I have 7 children. You have 8 children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've both been homeschooling 18 years. I am graduating my third this year. So we have 3 graduates. My children have always homeschooled. That's the only thing that we know, all that we've ever done. And I think that you and I share this common heart to support others who are behind us in the journey, who are in the journey with us, and we want to be a source of encouragement for them because it's hard out here. Like there's got to be at least one reason every single day to quit. Like there's at least one, if not a truckload. And so to be a voice that says, keep going, here's the reason why, in case you're in a moment where you're forgetting why, because the heat from the circumstances of life is so hot that you just go, I mean, I can't even think right now. Like, I don't know why I'm out here. It's a real journey, a real joy for the two of us, I believe, to be a source of encouragement for others who are also in the journey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 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 yes. So, why and how did you actually get started in homeschooling?
Well, I was introduced to homeschooling when I was in high school. I used to babysit for a family who homeschooled in the neighborhood, and they were also another African American family. And my mother and that mom worked together at the Air Force Base. And I was just babysitting. I was in high school. I wasn't thinking about homeschooling and being a mom and all of that. But I just noticed that their family, there was something special about them. There was just something different about the way they operated. And I just kept my eye on them. You know, like I wasn't thinking, this is something I want to do. I just kept asking myself, like, what is it? And the more I got to know them and the more I spent time with them, especially with the mom, and she and I are still friends to this day. I began to ask her more and more questions once I transitioned into being married, and then we had kids, and then it was, of course, where will our children go to school, and what will that look like? How do we want to uniquely set up our family? What is God calling us to uniquely? I just started asking her questions about how did you choose homeschooling, and she started sharing not only her own story, but just the opportunity to meet more and more families who were homeschooling in the same way that you're now doing with technology. She was able to do that in a face-to-face connection. And it helped me to see that it truly was possible, not just for them, but for me as well. And I'm happy to report that I spoke at our statewide homeschool conference this year, and she was able to introduce me on stage, which really felt like this full
Aw.
circle of she was the one that introduced me to homeschooling, and now she was introducing me to this whole new group of homeschoolers who were considering homeschooling or already homeschooling. And she has been homeschooling now 20, I believe she said 27 years.
Wow, wow, wow. How much longer she has to go?
Rich in wisdom. Oh my goodness. She's still going. Like she's still got at least a good another 10 years to go.
Wow. Okay.
I gotta get you two connected. Like she should be here. Like she's an amazing resource.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you know what? Our story is so much alike, Susan. Oh my goodness. So mine, much like yours, was my aunt seeing this Black family homeschooling, seeing a mom stay at home, one income family. And I just remember staying with her. She lived in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. I would go and visit with her every summer. And it was just amazed to be like, wow, kids stay home, mom stays home, they school at home. And just to see this closeness, it just blew me out of the water. And from that moment I said I want to homeschool. That's all
Right.
I knew the reason then. But then of course other reasons encouraged that why to be my why for homeschooling. So beautiful, Susan. So I have to give you a moment to share your platform, because I'm going to tell you what, although you commented on a YouTube thread that I had, like you were glad to see this platform. And then I went
Mhm.
to Instagram and I saw your name again. I thought, okay, I need to check this woman out. And I just went on this rampage to search you out and saw you on Facebook. And then I went back to YouTube and said, hey, she has a channel. Hey, wait a minute. She got tons of videos. Oh my goodness. And I listened to the
Mhm.
video and I was like, okay, wait a minute. She needs to be on the show. I need to talk to her. So tell us a little bit about your platform that you have, Mentors for Moms, and how that came about. And is that directly for homeschooling or for anyone? Tell us just a little bit about that.
Oh, sure, sure. No, my heartbeat is to be an encouragement to mothers, like whatever stage of the journey they're in. So they may be married, they may be single moms, they may be working moms, they may be stay-at-home moms, they may be homeschooling moms. I am here as a voice of encouragement for mothers. And my soapbox that I love to stand on is this. If you were hired in a management position within the marketplace, as soon as you're hired in that management position, one of the first things that they offer you is training. And here we are as moms managing arguably the most foundational organization in our society. And there's zero, almost zero training for that. I feel like each one of us is starting over at ground zero trying to figure this out. And one thing that we know is we're either super excited to do the things our mom did, or we know one thing we don't want to do is what our family did. And that, depends on the background that we've had. But my husband and I started a business, and we've grown that business to be a successful business. We were able to retire him off his corporate job about 18 years ago. So we've been not only single income, as in he's was working corporate, but now we are funded by our own business, and that's how our family eats, and that's how we send people off to college and that kind of thing. And I found that when we were going through business training, I was hearing so much information for how do you start a business and how do you hire employees and how do you stay successful and how do you make it profitable, all these different things. And my husband thought that I was just over the top engaged in every training that we were attending. But what I was really hearing was
Mhm.
foundational principles that not only applied in the business world, but would support me as I was helping our family to thrive and to be successful. So, in the same way, that a business has a business plan and they create a vision and they have core values for their business. I'm asking families, have you created a vision for your family? Have you identified the core values within your family? And are you regularly having conversations in your household about how you and your family can live true to those core values? That is what being intentional is for me. That's what it means. It does not mean that you're perfectly scheduled, because I'd automatically be out. It does not mean your house is perfectly running in order and every kid is color coded. If you do those things, I admire you and I want to be your friend, right? But that's not my life. Instead, I just every day want to live truer and truer to the core values that are unique for our household and be able to pass those on to my children, infusing in them a sense of identity that is rock solid so that when they go out and encounter the world, they come from this set, secure, identified place versus this searching place where they're looking for someone to tell them who they are.
Yes, beautiful. That's beautiful, beautiful. So, with that in mind, and that's a beautiful platform, and thank you, because that is so true. I mean, I've been a mom now going on, it'll be 22 years, July 14, 22 years. And you're right, there's no manual, and we know there's no manual to parenting, and we just figure these things out and God bless the firstborn because they get to be the guinea pigs, and we just like, okay. My motto now is
Special grace on that firstborn.
yeah, yeah. And my motto now is I just want to help their therapy bill to be as less as possible. That's all I can, here we go. But, since you've been homeschooling now 18 years, tell us, what was it like when you first got started? How was that beginning journey of homeschooling?
Struggle. I think I would call it just struggle. Uh, I I made this assumption that the woman who inspired me to homeschool, the one I watched and asked the questions and I looked through her bookshelves and pulled down resources, I made the assumption that if I bought the same books that she had on her shelf, and if I used the exact same books that she used, then I would get the same amazing results she was getting. So I went out and bought all the stuff. I thought I was doing all the things, and I was not thriving. And I took my son, who was 4 at the time, because I was so eager because I had been thinking about homeschooling since he was born. So I was like ready, and I found a curriculum that had a K4 whole kit for him. And I was like, yes, I bought it and I took him in and we started doing it. And it was the biggest disaster. I took this child who was eager and excited to learn, and I took him to a place where when I mentioned, okay, let's do school, like he would run. Like he would be under furniture, he'd be hiding from me. Like he didn't want to do it. It was no longer a delight. It was no longer fun. I had made this, I tried to recreate what I had in the public school environment in the home with this one child. And I'm trying to get every page done, every assignment, every suggested activity done because I didn't want to mess it up. And instead, I was not just messing it up, I was straight up jacking it up. And I had to step back from that. But that's how we started. We started out rough.
Good. Well, what was the light bulb moment? What was the thing that was like boom? And when did that happen for you?
Mm. I think it was over time because at first I thought, well, he's the first, he's my boy. I keep hearing that boys are developmentally not as quick as girls. And so I had a girl coming behind him, and I thought, okay, well, let's see how things go when the two of them are working on stuff. And I just looked at both of their eyes, and there was this sense of deadness.
Hmm.
There was no longer a joy. It was just kind of a, okay, we got to do the next page. Okay, we got to do the next activity. And I thought, what happened to the delightful, engaged, curious, excited children I started out with? Like, what happened? And I I had to just say, maybe maybe it's me. Hardest admittance we have to do, right? Like maybe it's not them, maybe it's me.
Mm-hmm.
And I took every box, every book that I had purchased and put it in a box, put it up on a high shelf,
Mm-hmm.
and I took us to the library and I said, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to check out books that you all are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And while you all are getting curious again about learning and getting re-engaged in learning, I'm going to go over and I'm going to start checking out books with more information on different types of teaching and different types of homeschooling and different types of learning classrooms that are available in different schools. And I'm going to educate myself on how to be a good teacher while you all are just being children,
Mm-hmm.
because they were still young at the time. It wasn't as if we were dealing with high school and I had to be concerned that someone was trying to graduate in the next year, right? I felt like I had to give myself the time to catch up with the idea of what does it really mean to create an environment of learning, and what does having an education really mean?
Mm-hmm. That's deep and that's good. I want to dive all into that, but we're going to talk about that on the podcast because I wanted that is good. So you all want to know her answer to that question right there. What does it mean to allow her kids just to be children, and what does it mean to have this education in her home and what that looks like? All right, so yeah, that's going to be on the on girlfriend's chat on the podcast. So that's good nuggets right there, Susan. Susan, at this point of the game, 18 years of homeschooling, do you have a set habit that you all follow from day to day? Is it the same? Doom, 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 doom. Do you have that kind of line up in your home?
Mm. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I really feel like by 18 years, we should have this thing down, y'all. I should be clear on exactly what we're going to do. And then I feel like every year when I get started, my children are not in the place I thought they would be. They're either further back or further ahead than I anticipated. And I feel like I need to get reacquainted with what's going to connect for this year.
Mm.
Uh, and that's, I got to be honest, that's one of my biggest frustrations with homeschooling is because I simply would love to have a plan and I would love for my plan that I created to work. And it's this unique acceptance or surrender that I get to do every single year when I say it's time to start of accepting where we are and being honest about that. Not trying to say they're further ahead than where I want them to be and not penalizing them for being where they are, but accepting that and then saying, now what gets us from where we are to where I believe our next natural steps will be in their learning journey. And when I can do that, I feel like our days flow. But I will say there's a few habits that we do. One is we start every day at the table reading scripture or singing hymns or in some way focusing in on our faith. Because as Christians, that's one of the chief reasons I started homeschooling. And I want to ensure that that really sets the tone and the foundation for our day. But another key thing for me in keeping my children motivated and flowing throughout the day is I tie a lot of their schoolwork to eating. This is just going to be a practical girlfriend moment because this is what we're doing as girlfriends. But I find that my children are highly motivated by food. So I attach like what work needs to be done before what next meal. So if I say, okay, your math needs to be done before breakfast, then I know if your feet are under my kitchen table, what you're saying is my math is done. So it's a natural reminder for me to bring me your math book so I can check your math while you're getting started on your breakfast. And then it's the same for lunch. If you're at lunch, then what you're telling me is that your science and your reading is done. Okay, great. Then bring me that. Let me see that because I know that you're at the table, which is saying I'm done. So it's practical things like that that have helped me to think through where we are because with so many moving pieces and people in my life, it's easy for me to get lost in like what is anybody doing? Like I want them to tell me what I'm doing sometimes.
That is good. That's a great idea. That is excellent. I've never thought about that in all 18 years. Okay. Hey, that's their weight in gold right there, you all. That's a big nugget. I love it. I love it. So Susan, tell me this. This is my favorite question.
Okay.
What has been your worst day of homeschooling? Although it's been your dream to homeschool as long as you can remember, what is your worst day of homeschooling that was so bad it almost made you quit? Like, you know what? I, I think I'm done. And if not for that hour, that day, that moment, that week, whatever, you were almost ready just to send them somewhere and just say, I'm done. But you didn't. And this is why, 18 years now in this journey of homeschooling. Take us to that day or that moment.
Mm, oof. Like I had a bunch of days pop into my head. So I would say what's in common with those memories that I have is I got in this place where I felt like the plans that I had aren't working. The things that I thought they've learned when I asked them, okay, especially when it comes to math facts and phonics, I feel like we just went over those math facts. It felt like 8,000 times, and you're still looking at me like I'm speaking Greek. Um, I'm looking at them and I'm saying, surely by now you know this, right? And they're still looking at me and not getting it. And it seems like at those moments, that's like right when the school bus goes down the street. And I think, honestly, I could just open the door. And here's the truth. Like, I don't want to put the kids on. I want to get on the bus and leave. Like, they can head a house. Like, I just want to be out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to break because I just want to go somewhere where somebody is doing something. Because I feel like they're arguing over who sat in what chair and whose pillow is that. And that's my pencil. And all the pencils look the same to me. And I'm thinking, are we doing anything? They're just those days where I think, I I look on, heaven help me if I go on the internet and I see like someone else posting in a Facebook group, or look on Pinterest and I see what all these other amazing moms are doing. Of course, their house is running smoothly. It's just my kids that, you know, have left underwear in the living room, or who have spilled a cup across everybody's papers, or all these things that happen day to day. And I think, you know, that's it. I think today should be our last day.
No, not your house. No, 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 no. All of that, all of that. That's good. So take us to your most memorable day, Susan, and you just say, you know, this is why I chose to homeschool right here. Maybe even bring you your tears or move you in such a way. Take us to that moment in homeschooling.
Mm. I think for me, it's when I remember that homeschooling and them learning is a journey, and it's a process. And when I stop believing that, or when I forget that piece, I start looking at this moment and thinking it defines our entire journey,
Mm,
when really it's a process that we're pushing forward towards. And there's so many milestones and places of celebration. And then there's so many milestones to come. And the journey can't be rushed and it can't be forced. It's to be embraced
mm,
for all that's happening 360 in our lives.
mm-hmm,
And books are such a small portion.
mm-hmm,
The curriculum is a tiny portion. The homeschooling lifestyle is what I love to tell people. It's a lifestyle.
mm-hmm.
It's one all encompassing. And if we truly embrace it, it will transform not only our hearts and minds, but our families and our legacy.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's good, Susan. And that's true. And that's very sobering thought. And if we keep that in mind in our forefront, what a big difference we'll see all of it, you know, everything, the whole of it. So that's beautiful. Girlfriends, listen, if you are just tuning in here, I have Susan C. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. See, Susan. That's what I had to do, put a visual in my brain. We have Susan C. here today out of Austin, Texas, here on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Paris. So if you're just tuning in, I know that you are going to want to rewind, start over from the beginning, and hear this from once we finish this broadcast. Susan is sharing a lot of nuggets and insights and wisdom, which I had no doubt that she would not do, and that you're going to want to walk away from, and for encouragement for your journey. I mean, just really, really good, practical, common sense, take it and chew on it type of stuff. So Susan, thank you so much. I'm going to tell you what, if you haven't hit the share button, go ahead and hit the share button. Is at the bottom. Just hit the share and share it onto your page. You just never know who is considering homeschooling, or who are
Mhm.
in the thick of homeschooling right now and just need some encouragement, some insights, and like, oh yeah, your kids leave underwear on the floor too, and you've been homeschooling for 18 years. Your kids spill drink all over. Yes, yes, yes. We all have that moments. No one in this homeschooling journey or in life have a ticket to perfect. No one. It's just the wisdom and the encouragement and the camaraderie that we have that keeps us moving forward and staying connected to our why of homeschooling. So Susan, again, is sharing some good nuggets. So as we go to the second part of our show, Susan, these are some questions to pick your brain. You can give some quick answer to them. The first question you always got to elaborate on normally, but these are some questions just to pick your brain. So Susan, what is your quote or mantra that has kept you on this journey for 18 years?
Mm. The race is not given to the swift or the strong, but to the one who endures to the end.
Mm,
That's the one that I find today. It's truly, truly a journey. And I started out sprinting, thinking I could speed this up. My child in a smaller environment was just going to be a genius, and we'd be the ones that are in the newspapers or on the cover of the magazine, and because that's what being successful meant. And I had to do a real allowing a searching of my own heart and checking of my motives. And was that because I loved my child, or was it because I was trying to prove that I could do this? And I truly had so many doubts in my own self, and I had doubting family members and friends that I was trying to prove. And I had to get to a place where I was motivated out of a love for my child and a love of learning, And then I began to watch them come alive.
Mm-hmm. That's good, y'all. That is good right there. That's good. I'm going to tell you, once we get our own selves out of the way, and it's not about us and how good we're going to look or how successful our kids, we're going to make them become what that big punk, if we can just remove that out of it, number one, the burden would be just lifted. And number two, we enjoy the process. Number three, we won't be trying to prove nothing to anyone, but loving our kids and giving them the best. So that's huge. That's monstrous. Beautifully said. So with these last four, do you plan to homeschool all the way to the end, Susan?
That's my plan. But please don't ask me how many more years I have to go because I think that might be too scary. So just yes, this next year I'm in, and my goal is to the end, whenever that is.
I'm right with you, girlfriend. I'm right with you. What is something that's unique to the Seay family that you all do in your homeschool, and you say this is what makes us this, our homeschool, the Seay homeschool?
Oh goodness. Ah, so many fun things, but I think one thing that stands out is we truly are a family of entrepreneurs. My husband and I have our own business, but we also had two daughters who each had their own businesses. The second one is graduating now. They both had successful businesses where they worked with companies, both domestic and foreign. They've done very well, thrived in that, and they continue to as they move on to their next steps.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. What book or curriculum or resource that you have in your personal library that has helped you in this homeschooling journey that you feel like every home should have?
Ooh, good one. Let's see. I would say, okay, this is something I didn't know existed until I got into homeschooling, but there are actually books that have lists of books within them. One that comes to mind is called, I believe it's Honey for a Child's Heart, and it breaks books down topically. So if you have someone who's interested in books on horses or science or inventors, it has books that are listed and then broken down by age or grade level so that you can go look for them in your library. You know, I feel like I might be saying something as a dinosaur because now Google searches are so good, you might not need that book, but but those books were rich for me when I was just investing a lot of time in the library. But even in the library, it felt like, endless options, and I didn't know one good book from another. It was great to be able to read a little preview of the book, know that it was topically related to something they were interested in, and that kind of thing. So I would encourage people to look for books that have lists of books within them and use that as a way of really adding to or enhancing what they're offering for their children.
That's beautiful. Is Honey for a Child's Heart, is that specifically to Black and brown children, or just is for the whole collective homeschooling community?
Correct. That's collective homeschool community. Hmm.
Beautiful. Honey for a Child's Heart. You all look it up. I'm going to look that up. That's pretty cool. What is the best piece of advice you have received since you've been on this homeschooling journey, Susan?
Mm. I would say be willing to let your family be unique. And it's easy to get within even a certain style or type of homeschooling and think that what everyone else is doing within that particular philosophy, you should do it too. And maybe not. And allow that to be okay if your family is consistently coloring outside the lines. I think all of us can be comfortable coloring outside the lines or creating even a new page on some things. But when we consistently feel like we're always outside the box, we start to think, man, is something wrong?
Mhm,
And I go, maybe not. Maybe it's the best thing ever. Like you're really exploring the uniqueness of how God has crafted your family.
mhm.
And that is inspiring to everyone who gets to see it. And it will likely inspire those closest to you to begin to live outside the box too. So I say be willing to be different.
That's beautiful. So true. I agree with you totally. What is your favorite tool or online resource or app that you use in your homeschool that you would like to share with the girlfriends?
Okay. So I do have one from this past year that has saved me so many times. It's an app called Quick Math. And you can take, this is for when you've got children in the later maths, where your brain has a whole lot of levels of dust because it's been a while. Um, and that's me with their algebra and algebra 2. You can take a picture of the problem and the app works the problem and shows you the steps and the solution. Come on, somebody. You don't have to have the answer manual with you, whatever. You could just take a picture of that problem and it will work it out for you in steps.
Girl, for real.
Then that's your girlfriend giving you the tip. I'm telling you, Quick Math is the app.
Okay, quick math. All right, girlfriends. Hey, you got to look that up. That whoa, I can't even imagine that. But okay, I'll take that. That's a good one. All right. So let's see. That just totally messed me up. Forgot my question. What is
Because you must be stuck in some math problems. You're like, how much time have I wasted trying to figure that out? I could have
girl?
had it out.
Yes, I graduated three through high school, but hey, I wish I had that map. Good gravy. So,
Mm-hmm.
what is your favorite book that you have read? That you have read personally on for help on this homeschooling journey. Is there a specific book that you can say that really just helped you on your course?
Mm. Let me think. There's so many books. I'm one that consistently goes to a store in our area called Half Price Books, and I just go through their shelves and constantly I'm reading. Now I get to graduate and be using podcasts and YouTube videos. I love the way that the world has opened up with that. So I
Yeah,
don't know that.
podcast. I mean, because I'm so stuck on books, but yeah, we use all these resources, podcasts on something like that, something that has just really helped shape and form your journey and your philosophy of homeschooling. Yeah, whatever.
So, one resource that I remember referring to often was Ruth Beachick's Three R's book. And it's small books, which one is encouraging to me. Like, I wrote a book as well called The Intentional Parent, and my book is small on purpose because I find that it's encouraging to moms when they look at that spine and they see a thinner spine. They feel like, now this is a book I can read. Like, I can actually finish this one. But Ruth Beachick's are like a slice of the size of even my book, and it's three of them. And what she is doing is basically laying out what the goals of teaching are for either reading, writing, or arithmetic. And then you can then look at different resources to offer that teaching to happen. So it doesn't have to look like a curriculum or a specific math book, but you could use your dishes for shapes. You could use like your plates are round and your casserole dish is rectangle, and you're teaching preschoolers different shapes using the things around your house. And you don't feel like, maybe because there have been seasons in our life where the budget just didn't have it for books and resources. And I had to get creative with how I could still further their learning in spite of the challenges we were facing financially. And so having a resource that kind of told me what are the important things we need to be teaching, then I could look for what I use around me to make that happen versus me feeling like, well, I can't afford the book, so therefore in some way I'm failing my children, right?
Mm.
Ruth Beachick, I don't even know if she still has a website because she truly is old school in her philosophy and ideas. But basically, she wants to empower parents to feel like they have everything they need
Mm.
to educate children. So I would recommend that one.
Beautiful, beautiful. And please be sure to post that information in the show notes with her spelling her name. That sounds powerful. So I
Mhm.
have got to sneak this question in. This is not a normal question, but I know I have some girlfriends out there who are wondering this question. With seven
Okay.
children, how
Come
do
on.
you manage to homeschool them all on different ages, levels, grades, etc.? How do you manage to do that in your schooling day?
Mm-hmm. By the grace of God, honestly. Okay, but I know that answer frustrates people, so I will say this. I spend a lot of time with my children in those early years of homeschooling, laying a strong foundation in reading, a strong foundation in math. And then, as I said, we start our day reading the Bible or focusing on God's grace in our lives in all different kinds of ways, whether it's being quiet, whether it's journaling, whether it's just praying, whatever that looks like. Once I feel like I've set that foundation, I truly believe in empowering them to own their education. And that is a phrase that I will say in my household a lot. I've been through school. I have a college degree. Your father has a college degree plus an advanced degree. We have done the work. Now, we are doing our best to set this house as an environment of learning for you. And there is no reason why you should fail. There's no reason why you should not do well in life because you are being gifted with a rich opportunity. So I'm constantly empowering them, equipping them, resourcing them, and then challenging them to go for
Yes, ding 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 ding. That is it. That is the $1 million question. Well, a part of. I got another $1 million question, but that was $1 million answer. Excellent. Yes, we're on the same page. Beautiful. So there you have it. That's the secret sauce right there. That's the secret sauce. So
it.
Susan, here's the $1 million question. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Bring it.
All right. If you had to start all over again, Susan, back to
Mm.
day one of your homeschooling journey, but you have your current wisdom, knowledge, skills, insights, convictions, your thought process about things. What would be the first thing you'd be sure not to include in your homeschooling journey this first time around, or something that you would be sure to implement and make sure is in place as you start anew this time?
Mm. Okay. I would for sure be sure to not have people in my life who have a certain way to homeschool and they pressure me that that is the right way.
Mm.
I started out this journey surrounded by people who had a lot of good teachings and they were popular in homeschool circles. They were popular at homeschool conferences. But when they would finish speaking, I always felt like I needed to go buy their things, go buy their books, and go homeschool the way they were saying because that must be the right way. And it never fit. I always felt like a failure as if I wasn't doing enough. And I did not feel like I could breathe because I was making more and more mistakes and losing time and embedding bad habits in my children and all these things that I felt when I was around their teachings. So, what I would make sure that I do is surround myself with people like you, with people like me who are speaking encouragement into the call to homeschool
Mm.
and then encouraging them to find their unique way and trust that it's enough and trust that they are able and trust that they can do it.
That she just took us to church right there. Okay, that just made my soul all happy because that is so true, Susan. Girlfriends, listen,
Mm,
you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. And you, for this last hour, you have been hanging with Susan Seay. Good gracious, out of Austin, Texas. You all keep up the momentum. This was good stuff. Just rewind it again and again and chew on what she's saying. This is good stuff from a veteran homeschooling mom. Um, and the admittance of after 18 years of homeschooling, we still figure it out every year, but we do have some things in place that we know that are foundational, but every year is so different. And so you cannot be apprehensive just to jump in because every year you're going to be like almost relearning and regrouping and refocusing, right, Susan? um,
yeah, true.
and so
Hmm.
what she said was so good. You all, please rewind and listen to this and share it. Share it with your girlfriends. If you love your girlfriends, share, 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 share. So stay connected to other positive resources like Susan, myself, Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling, her mentors for moms. Oh my goodness, who don't need a mentor for mom? Get to her YouTube channel, the girlfriends chat. Stay connected to resources that's going to encourage you and not make you feel like you're inadequate to
Yes.
do what you're called to do, your God-given right to educate your own children. So thank you, Susan, so much. This was a very rich, nugget filled interview. Thank you for giving up your time, your resources, your insights, and your transparency and encouragement. Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling appreciates you and are
Mm,
grateful to you for giving back. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, girlfriends, let me tell you, as I always do as we end this show, remember that to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we
Mhm,
homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our
mhm,
efforts, our menial, imperfect, not got it together efforts of homeschooling. But but keep doing so, because you're making a positive impact day after day, year after year. We're
Mm.
making positive impact in our children's lives, and in our own hearts too, because we're being shaped continually in this journey, and it's a beautiful thing. One not to be feared, to run away from, but like Susan said, embrace it, and choose to make it what you desire your homeschooling to look like, and then go for it. So, all right, girlfriends, it's your turn. Go ahead and go out there and make a positive impact and connect, and just shine some encouragement on some others, um, who are in the African homeschooling diaspora or marginalized homeschooling. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to being with you again soon. So peace to all of you. Have a good evening. Thank you, Susan. We'll be in touch.
Uh-huh. Bye bye.